Our Court TV cameras are in Texas this afternoon for the mistress and child murder trial for Ronald Burgos-Aviles. He's a former Border Patrol agent. He's facing the death penalty in the stabbing deaths of his ex-girlfriend, Grizelda Hernandez, and their one-year-old son, Dominic. The prosecution says Burgos-Aviles asked Hernandez to meet him at a park on April 9th, 2018. With their son, and their bodies were found hours later in a secluded, wooded area, making the defendant the last person to see them alive. Let's bring in now Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Kraft, who is in Laredo, Texas, with the latest. Great to see you, my friend. We heard from a forensic scientist today on the witness stand, and what did she reveal?
Hey there, Chanley. Nice to see you, too. Good afternoon to you and to everyone out there. Nicole Morales is her name. She's the forensic scientist that was on the stand this morning. One of the big revelations from her testimony, who the father of baby Dominic is. So in her review of the evidence, she was asked to do a biological parenting analysis, and she really explained to the jury, who was really interested in this, how this works. She was talking about how 50% of one's DNA comes from your mother, the other 50% of the DNA comes from your father. And again, the jury was really listening because she was getting into detail how she does her analysis. Let's listen to the results of that paternity test.
In regards to paternity, what did you conclude after comparing their samples?
So that's back on the first DNA report. So I was asked to perform a sort of like a biological parentage analysis between the three individuals. So we know that Grizelda Hernandez is the biological mother of Dominic Hernandez. And so I made a comparison between Ronald Burgos' DNA profile and that of Dominic Hernandez. And Ronald Burgos cannot be excluded as a biological parent of Dominic Hernandez. So in this case, it was a probability of parentage of greater than 99.9%.
And so there we have it. The defendant is the father, 99.9% certain that he is the father of baby Dominic. So this was confirmation of something that pretty much everyone already knew. Another thing that I want to talk about that she discussed while on the stand, this DNA evidence of some of the evidence that was found at the scene. Two big moments for the state was when she talked about the seatbelt buckle on baby Dominic's stroller, and she also talked about another piece of evidence. This is that tailgate blood that we have seen. This is Anthony Burgos's unit, his Border Patrol unit, and the blood on his tailgate of that unit. And what she said in regard to those findings, if we have that video, we can put it up, showing the seatbelt buckle as well as the tailgate of Burgos's truck. What she said on those is Grizelda was not excluded as a source of the DNA on that item, and either was Burgos. When she said that, one juror really looked at Burgos. This is the belt buckle on that seatbelt. And then the blood on the tailgate of Burgos's Border Patrol unit, she said her findings showed that there was a DNA match on that. Burgos was excluded from that blood on the tailgate. Grizelda was excluded from the blood on that tailgate, but baby Dominic was not. So this all relates back to the state's opening, when the state said in its opening statement that baby Dominic marked his father's Border Patrol unit with his blood, Chanley.
That's powerful and so heartbreaking that we're hearing he is the confirmed father of those pictures of that baby boy. He was the cutest little baby ever. It's just heartbreaking to think that someone could do something so brutal to a little boy like that and to leave his mark on the patrol vehicle. That's powerful evidence. I don't know how the defense is going to overcome that at all here, Kelly, but I know the prosecution called another witness, actually another Border Patrol detective who was on the stand. He had some key takeaways. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Chanley, so this was the continuation of cross that took place. It started yesterday, continued on into today. Really, again, I mean, the defense can't really, doesn't really have too much to work with. But, you know, some of the key points that they ended up making to the DNA analysis, they said, you didn't go out there and conduct the pickup of this evidence. You just analyzed it. So you cannot really speak to whether that collection was proper or not. And she was saying that she could not speak to whether it was proper or not. All she was responsible for doing is collecting some of that evidence. And another thing that was talked about earlier this morning in cross, and maybe a few points achieved by the defense counsel, was taking a look at the custodial evidence recovered from Burgos at his desk. The Eduardo Pena, one of the lead defense counsels, he was saying that on the computer you didn't recover any evidence. So a lot of times, Chanley, as you know, we see in these cases people do searches on their computers, and you find some pretty incriminating evidence on their searches on the computer, but nothing was collected, according to this witness, on his computer that would implicate him in this case. That's what the defense counsel was trying to get at.
Right. Interesting there. And we also, right before the lunch, we're hearing from a detective who earlier showed this jury some powerful photos of scratches on the defendant's arm. Kelly, tell us about that.
So, Chanley, what's taking place right now in court, and it was hard even for me to break away, because what we are looking at right now in court was the interrogation of the defendant. And this is the first time that everyone is getting a chance to see this interrogation. So it started off with a long time of just the defendant sitting there, moving around, kind of looking at his arms, licking his arms, putting his head down, whispering. He was doing a lot of whispering. Obviously, we have no idea what he was whispering about, but they played that for a long time. The judge actually got a little frustrated with the state because he thought that, what are we doing here? What are we showing here? And then the state went up and talked, what's coming up, it's coming up. And then, of course, the interrogation started. And as I said, Chanley, that is going on right now. And it is just to listen to this interrogation, and the lead detective, who is on the stand right now, talking about man up, man. He's talking to the defendant and telling him to man up. You know what's going on. Tell us what's going on. And the jury is just glued to this interrogation video, Chanley. And we're going to bring you some more of that in the next hour.
So fascinating. I love your insights to what the jury's doing, what they're picking up on. I know you were in the courtroom, and I just have one more quick question. Just as you're sitting in the courtroom, what is it like in there?
So, Chanley, all throughout the week, the mood has changed dramatically. And today, with some of this evidence, it's really been interesting to see their reaction. Earlier in the week, when they were first hearing about what the evidence was, we were seeing jurors make the sign of the cross, wiping away tears. The next few days, they were pretty locked in. Today, I have to tell you, as they are sitting there watching this interrogation, you see some of the jurors just nodding their heads rapidly when the lead investigator is talking very sternly with the defendant and saying, like I said, man up. You knew this woman. Did you have a relationship with this woman? The mother is grieving out here, and we see that your phone number is on her cell phone. Tell us what's going on. And at one point, he's laughing. He's saying, I'm just trying to tell you what I know, man. And so the jurors are just glued to this, Chanley.
Yeah, I just thank you so much, because we can't see the jurors. We know you can. I always love hearing how they're taking this in. Thank you so much, Kelly Craft, for all your excellent reporting. We'll let you get back inside that courtroom for now. And we want to take our viewers back inside the courtroom as well. We're going to pick up the testimony as the state plays that very interrogation video that she was talking about of the defendant, Ronald Burgos-Aviles. Let's watch.
Yeah, you have that one. What's there? Everything's good though? I'm just worrying about my kids, about your kids? What? I just like call my wife, man, like whatever phone, I just tell her, hey, when you get out, pick them up. I might be. When did she get out? She's out at 4. At 4. And they they can stay in school, you know, like that limit. But I could just leave a message, you know, if they don't answer. I mean, give me a second. Is that a possibility, or? Yeah, just give me a second. Let me just figure out exactly what we're going to do about that, all right? Thank you, man. calling how long
No, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Do you need something? With your officer, La Cruz? Yeah. Are you going to be the one talking to me, or? No, sir. Do you need something? Something I can help you with? I was asking him about my, if I can make a phone call or a deal. Okay. There's going to be a possibility. Yeah. You know what's going to happen with my guys? He said that they're going to bring him in too. They'll answer all those questions a little bit, sir. Just bear with us, right? It's because it's taking forever now, getting creepy action, you know. Relax. But it's how to relax. It's how to relax a lot of things. It's all a lot of things at once. So relax. They'll be right with you. You'll be able to talk to somebody. They'll answer all your questions. Let me see if I can get somebody here so they can start talking to you and answer whatever your questions you have. All right? So I hope. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Judge, I'm all for the state skipping to what they believe the relevant parts, but if we could just put it on the record as to where is being advanced.
Okay, that's a good idea.
It's now being advanced to 309, where Ernie Elizondo and
309 of the actual time of the day, right?
39 minutes, 40 seconds. 39 minutes and 40 seconds.
All right, thank you. 39:42. Thank you.
How you doing, boys? You guys keep giving me the run.
Nah, we're good.
We're not trying to do that. We're just trying to get, oh yeah, you guys really are. Like I told the guy, can I just make arrangements so somebody pick up my kids? And yeah, already will. Come on.
What time do they get out?
Yeah, they already out. It's why. 1,500.
Has, do you have family members that can do that, or?
I have my wife. That's the only one I can pick more.
Okay. Does she work somewhere, or? Okay. I guess before we start this process, we definitely want to arrange that, so what's your wife's name?
Amy.
Amy. Her cell phone number? 863 242
That's because she's got a new one, and it's 9781, I think.
9781?
Yeah, it might not be it. It's just barely the only one. But I have it on my phone. Somebody has my phone. You can look it up.
Yeah, definitely. Do patrolman take your phone with you?
Yeah, it's at the scene there.
Oh.
Saturday, 29.
Alright, well, we'll communicate that right now. Does she work somewhere?
Yes.
On it, she's customs, or? Well, where they at school, or they at daycare?
One is at daycare, and one's at school. I was going to ask you, can I just call her myself?
Okay, we're going to get some assistance to do that right now. I think that it's important that we get to this right now, for starters. Do you think that's the number for sure? What time did she get out? I guess at 4 p.m.? Did she not know to go get the kids, or is it your turn? Or?
I know because I get out before her. Well, we get out at the same time, but
what daycare, or
I'm closer.
What daycare? Yeah.
Little learning center, then much seriously.
So, I mean, the main concern now is you want someone to go get her, right? To go get the kids. So, it's okay if I call her to tell her, hey, look, okay.
But, furthermore, I mean, if you don't show up, then obviously they're going to be calling on you or your wife, no? You go, that's not, if she answers, they call her. Yeah. I think it's important to address those, so you know that.
What's your last name?
Amy.
Amy?
We don't understand why you're right. If they don't show you, they're not call her, so we don't have that.
Yeah, I'll be very good.
Okay, we're going to squeeze in a break. We're watching the interrogation video of Burgos-Aviles. We're getting past kind of the introductions. They're getting into the meat of the interrogation, so don't miss it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, the tragic story of 3 young boys allegedly shot execution style by their father.
I ain't gonna hurt nobody. You got anything on you? No, I ain't got nothing, man.
We'll break down the shocking body cam footage of his arrest as our experts weigh in. Plus, a cold case over 2 decades in the making, the disappearance of Alyssa Turney. We'll bring you up to speed as her stepfather prepares to stand trial next week.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are following the trial for defendant Ronald Burgos-Aviles in Texas. He faces 2 counts of capital murder in the stabbing deaths of his former lover, Grizelda Hernandez, and their 1-year-old son, Dominic. So let's get you back inside the courtroom for more of the interrogation of the defendant himself.
All right. Well, obviously, we've been together all morning long, so you know where this is stemming from. And, the only thing we can do is try to get everybody's side of the story. Right? Obviously, you're here and we transported you from the scene that we're at, right? So at this point, I think it's pretty clear that, you've not been allowed to leave. Yeah, so, it's still an investigation. We're trying to figure out all the details. Yeah. But we need to hear everybody's side of the story.
So is it true like the rest of the other guys or what?
No. Right now we're doing what the other guys told me.
You're detained right now. You're not free to leave. You're not.
I understand, but it's only like the other guys.
No. What other guys?
My older buddies are with us.
What we're doing right now is we're investigating. No one's, being unlawfully detained. We're just trying to do is get all the facts of them.
Yeah, but the other guy told me your other buddies too.
No, don't worry about it. I mean, whatever answers that you need that are going to be accurate, you're going to end up getting from us. But before we start all that, obviously you know your status in the situation, but we do need to get all the details and we want to get every side of the story. But before we do any of that stuff, I think you're pretty much aware that we need to review the other lawyers. And to get your side of the story, we need you to make sure that you understand the story. You have the right to remain silent and not make any statement at all, and that any statement you make may be used against you at your trial. You understand that? Sir? Any statement you make may be used as evidence against you or your son. You have the right to have a lawyer present to advise you prior to and during any questioning. Do you understand that? Okay. If you're unable to employ a lawyer, you have the right to have a lawyer appointed to advise you prior to and during any questioning.
As we listen to the investigators read the defendant his Miranda rights, let's discuss a little bit with my guest for this hour in Statesboro, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Francis Johnson, and in New York, national trial attorney Robin Nunn. Francis, what do you expect to see in this initial interrogation?
Well, I expect for them to recount facts that they have come to know in their investigation, as well as to try to get the defendant in this case to make certain admissions, confessions, and to give them the probable cause, which they have more than enough to make an arrest. And so that's why they've Mirandized him, so that anything that he says after this can, in fact, be used against him. And everything that he says, if he says anything, is not good. So that's what we expect to see, and obviously there's overwhelming evidence of the guilt of this defendant, just a horrific crime altogether.
Why don't we start from that? Why don't we start from when you arrived and you discovered what you discovered? Are you a morning shift person? Did you come in the morning? Yes. Okay. What time did you show up to work?
5:50 is the time that I show up.
5:50 in the morning. And then you guys do muster?
Yes.
At 6 a.m.? 6 a.m. Okay. And then what happened after that? You guys muster for about how long?
How long? It depends. Depends on what the information is going to be that morning.
And then when you assigned your location to work, was that At the location where you're at?
No, it was what they call the river supervisor.
The river supervisor. So you basically did roam distances anywhere between where and where? Because these guys don't have access, right? They kind of stay in their position, and then you can go up and down the area?
Nobody's on something.
Everybody. Oh, so I mean, I already don't know.
No, yeah, I know station anybody can move.
Okay. So, well, I mean, based on some of the ladies that we were talking to that were there earlier, that I said, oh, well, I'm working from.
Oh, yeah, there's like a piece.
A piece,
then you're like,
yeah.
Moving around that.
And in your particular situation, you're not assigned
to supervise them.
Okay, so you don't have a piece, you have a long stretch.
Out of them.
Okay, and how long is your stretch from where to where is your stretch?
There's no stretches.
Your jurisdiction, how far does it run from?
Your area of responsibility
area. Yeah.
It's my whole station area, like the whole sector.
Okay, so from Colombia all the way down to where we found you?
To past that.
Further down? Further south?
And so what happened next? You were put on duty. How did you end up where you ended up? Did you go, was that your first encounter, kind of like going to?
No, I went to go to Randall. I was told finish up some paperwork from the other day. I hung around the station for a little bit.
Let's just do like a good timeline, okay? You wrote a memo, you were at the station until what time? Just an approximate.
I can't tell you that, man.
7, 8, 9?
I wasn't aware of that all the time. It's like so routine that you don't even think like, okay, this time on this time that, you know.
Okay.
So you left the station, do you have breakfast or you gotta get to it real quick? Okay. So you left the station after you're doing your administrative duties and then did you head to the riverbanks?
Okay, again, we are listening to the interrogation of the defendant himself, his own words. Still with me, of course, Francis Johnson and Robin Nunn. Robin, I want to quickly go to you and ask about how surprising you think this is. The defendant is even speaking to the authorities and cooperating with this interview.
Yeah, I think it's pretty shocking, to be honest. Obviously, the defendant has a background in law enforcement, so he should be very well aware that interrogation is the most serious level of questioning of a suspect, and that that interrogation obviously involves a reasonable grounds for belief that someone has indeed committed a crime. They've read the warnings. He's well aware of the fact that he is, potentially about to make statements that can be used against them. And it's a little bit surprising to me that he seems, fairly calm in the video, and to be answering their questions, pretty readily.
He certainly does. Calm and not really fazed by what he just discovered, his secret lover and son brutally stabbed to death. We're going to continue watching this. Thank you, Robin, for your insights there. We're going to squeeze in a break. What did he say? What didn't he say? How did it come across? We're going to take you back inside the courtroom to show you more of the defendant's own words, because again, remember, he may not testify. This may be the only story the jury hears from the defendant himself. Stay with us here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, the tragic story of 3 young boys allegedly shot execution style by their father.
I ain't gonna hurt nobody. You got anything on you? No, I ain't got nothing, man.
We'll break down the shocking body cam footage of his arrest as our experts weigh in. Plus, a cold case over 2 decades in the making, the disappearance of Alyssa Turney. We'll bring you up to speed as her stepfather prepares to stand trial next week.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Chanley Painter, and we're going to take you back to the border town of Laredo, Texas, where the mistress and child murder trial is underway. The defendant, Ronald Burgos-Aviles, is accused of fatally stabbing his ex-girlfriend and their 20-month-old son over an alleged child custody dispute. So let's get you back inside the court for more of the defendant's interrogation interview.
Rich,
Where?
from the station.
What station you report to, sir?
Little.
Which is Shannon?
No, Pearson.
Pearson. Oh, way up there. Okay. They have to do this by now.
Like upriver with the Wall Street Bridge there.
Okay.
I hung out around there. Saw a couple guys, talked to them, whatever.
Former trades. Okay.
And I just kept working it down the river. Like going south. So,
So that's
You gotta ask me what you want.
okay, so you started working south, right? And then eventually you ended up where we saw you, right?
Yes.
And that's the last place, that's where you ended up.
Yes.
Okay, so what happened while you were there in that area where you found me?
You wanna know what happened?
Yeah.
I went to the park. When I was going down there, I went to the park. I just did a loop. Made up with Dada. Talked to him for a little bit. And then
Another agent, or is that?
Yeah, the other agent. And I just talked to him. I told him that I had to go because the station was calling me to go to the station. And then that's when I drove on that river road, and that's where, you know,
So what?
that's where I saw stuff in my body.
Yeah.
And after that, you already know the story about it.
So you found how many bodies you find?
I just saw that one person. So I saw that one person. I just saw the legs at first, right? Because it's like I didn't realize it's like a little.
Yeah, girl.
So when I got out, I ran there. At first I kind of freaked out. I grabbed my hand, I ran in there, like, you know, what's that called? There's an acronym for it. You know, yeah, we show for, you know.
Yeah, each other. Shaker, waker.
I try to feel her pulse in her neck. And then, on her hand. Then when at that time, I'm fucking shit, you know. Because I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I know, but like, I don't know, man. It's weird.
What was your impression when you saw her? Was it like you've seen something? You were.
I thought it was just, I thought it was somebody that got beat up because they didn't pay on the other side to cross. Nothing crazy, you know, they get their ass beat.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And so when you tried shaking her, I mean, what were you thinking about? Obviously, you thought it was a female.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell it was a female, but it was hard to beat, you know, so because she was sitting down.
And you had like a failed attempt to kind of bring her through the noise because.
Well, at the same time, simultaneously, like on the radio, I was, you know, as all this is going on, I already say, God, you know, I need your help. Come over here. And he was like, probably from where that door that we came up the stairs to where we are, you know, that's how far where we were.
Yeah, right.
So he just, I don't know if you saw where the units were.
Yeah, where the soccer field was at.
Yeah, so he got there. You know, it's hard for me to remember step by step, man. So I'm trying to give it to you. It's details. So I think we can.
It's a difficult situation, but we just kind of want to do the best possible, you know, whatever.
You know, it's like freaking out.
Get it off your chest.
Another guy said, "You're right, man." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Wow," and I'm like, "I don't know." Yeah, that was the radio. The fucking leak. I was being a little asshole. I'm like, I get EMS here. They're like, "Well, for what? What is the situation?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just get them in here." They're like, "Well, I need it." Like, I don't know what's going on right now. You know, just get them here. It's
that was on the radio.
I was on the radio.
But were you transmitting something that was blood? I mean, it was fatal down kind of thing, or awful.
It's because the thing is, one thing that's going through my head is that I didn't want to make it sound that serious because we have a tendency that whenever we put stuff, anything, usually not stuff like that, that barely ever happens, but if we put anything exciting, everybody shows up. And I didn't want everybody to show up. And they did anyways. The helicopter showed up. When it's like that. You know what I'm saying? So,
everybody wants to help. You know, everybody wants to be part of it.
I was trying to keep that. I just said this as a subject in need of assistance. Was like, I think that's like the word that I use. Not to make it seem, I didn't want to say like, that's dead body, you know, that's dead people.
Did you say anything else about your injuries?
I didn't say anything. I can't remember saying anything in the radio. I didn't know, no, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure.
I got you, but what would be the big deal about you know, arousing everybody's suspicion and people showing them, oh, you have a dead body there. What would be the issue of that?
This is my issue. My issue is that we as global Floridians,
right,
and which we did, which my buddies did, we show up here and what do? We start walking around all over, you know, leaving our prints, everybody, you know, we don't. And as they have told me before, one of the things, when a situation like this, they want us to, they have told us, supervisors, if you're getting into a situation like this, say a car accident, or any situation where there's somebody like hurt, let's get the least people as possible. And I actually remember saying on the radio, Lala's here with me, and if there's anybody else responding, stand by. And it's because Lala was in the training, so it was 3 of us there. So at least, well, I guess I was worried about, man, having the less people that felt better, you know?
So you were trying to preserve the right?
Preserve, well, yeah. And as you can tell,
I think in this particular situation, I mean, you know, you're showing up and it's, you know, you're thinking that, oh, she's probably assaulted someone that she didn't want to pay or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, she's lifeless. It looks like a violent attack. You know, I think it's necessary to get on the radio and say, hey, you know, fetal down, possibly deceased, you know, EMT and police.
That's also, I understand that, but also I've been told before, we, over agents, we don't make determinations if somebody's deceased or not. It might be obvious, you know what I'm saying? She might have her head cut off.
Yeah.
But until somebody with a certification with the authority to say they're deceased, well, I'm not going to say he's deceased because I don't know. She could have been unconscious for all I know, and then I'm over here saying that.
I know, but you know better than that.
I know, no, but it's not that I know better than that. It's black and white. Who am I to say so-and-so is dead? Or so
I'm just saying, I mean, considering the amount of blood that was around this girl, and she was face down, you know that. You know, that's common sense. It's not our policy or any of that.
Ms. Jackman.
But
Okay, the attorney's at a sidebar. In the meantime, let's talk about what we've been listening to in State Burroughs, Georgia. Criminal defense attorney Francis Johnson and in New York National Trial Attorney Robin Nunn. Francis, what's standing out to you so far?
That he just keeps talking. He won't stop. And he should know better. He's in law enforcement and they're interrogating him. They believe nothing he says. They're not hiding that. And yet he keeps running his mouth. Holes getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah, they are starting to challenge him a little bit. He says, maybe she was unconscious. You know better than that. You are a trained police officer. But Robin, this is important for prosecutors because this is a defendant who likely, I don't know what you think, will not testify. And this is him speaking in his own words.
Yeah, I think that this is a very important phase. And what is about to be said on this video recording is going to be critical in this trial. It is surprising that he's being so casual and open, especially based on his work background. But, you know, we still have to hear the meat here. He seems to be throwing out hypotheticals about how someone could die. And it's not clear to me what he's going to say when the ultimate question comes, you know, how did this all happen?
Yeah, and from what our correspondent there on the ground said, it's going to become pretty contentious in that interview room. So we're going to keep playing that for our viewers. Both of you, I really appreciate your time and expertise and insights on this. We're going to, like I said, squeeze in a quick break and then take you back inside that Laredo, Texas courtroom right after this.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
That demanded our attention.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves.
How in the world can a mother wait 30 days before reporting her child missing?
These are the trials that became legendary. And now you can relive them all in one place. Court TV, Legendary Trials. Go to courttv.com/legendary trials to find out how to watch.
Welcome back. We are in Texas this afternoon for the mistress and child murder trial for Ronald Burgos-Aviles. He's a former Border Patrol agent. He's accused of luring his former lover and their one-year-old child to a park and then brutally stabbing them. Burgos-Aviles faces the possibility of the death penalty if he is indeed convicted. So let's get you back inside the courtroom now. The defendant's police video interrogation is being played before the jury.
So they come, there's another blood. Possibly disease?
What everybody said, it don't matter. What matters is that I got there, I said I need EMS, we have a subject in assistance, and that should tell to send them there regardless. I asked for backup, my backup showed up.
Your backup was Lara
and Smith.
And they walked over to where you were at?
Yeah, they showed up where I was.
And then what happened there?
Well, by the time that Lara showed up, which was like real quick, I was
yeah, he was right next to you. So like,
yeah, he tapped her also, and he's like, what do you think happened? And Lara is an ex-military guy, so I kind of like, what do you say that? Like I was, instead of me being like the one in charge, I kind of like, hey, Lara, what do you think, man? What should we do? Because this ex-military guy, he's got a lot of training. I'm in the military too, but I don't have that type of training he has. And he's like, I don't know, he started saying like, what could it be? It looks like dogs bit her, I don't know. He started saying all kinds of stuff, and which I don't really should, it doesn't matter what he said.
No, that's not the thing, you guys discussing,
And, at the time, we kept happening. I think, I don't know, don't be freaking saying that I said, because I think he felt her pull also, and I asked him, what do you think? And then I'm like, he's like, I don't know, it's really hard for me to tell because of the position it was, so we attempted to move her. But then at that time, I kind of realized, you know what, man, we're touching this chick with no gloves.
Who moved who grabbed her?
Me, both of us.
So who grabbed her from where? Where did you grab her from?
I don't know, I think I grabbed her by the shirt, shoulder, like, cause, like this, like that, in the arm. And I don't know what he got there, I just saw his hands.
And so when you did that, how far did you all get up when you got there?
Probably like this. It was pretty quick because then I realized that when we were touching her with no gloves. So at that time, he told his trainee, you have any gloves? And the trainee had gloves, even he's a police trainee, so.
And so he put his gloves on and he moved her again?
We put the gloves on, and man, I can't remember that. I think after that, man, I think I told her to go, just don't touch him, man, because, at that time I was saying, like, man, don't touch her because, I kind of like already, she might be gone, started thinking. I'll be honest with you, I know you probably think that I should have fucking known whatever. But at the time, man, I didn't know. She could be unconscious. I've seen people pass out because they walk for miles with no water and you think they're dead. And then when they freaking take them to the hospital, they freaking put an IV and they just have to wrap the or passed out. I know, man. I know you can call. But I know, man. But fuck, man. I didn't fucking think it. He fucking said, I don't think she's gone yet.
But when you, just let me go back real quick, when you, I know you said you grabbed her like maybe twice, right? 2 or 3 times? Did you have gloves on every time? The first time you did? Second time you did? No? Every time?
When I put my gloves on, you know what? That's why I said I don't know if I'm anymore.
Okay.
Same for him.
So then I'm assuming that you washed your hands after.
Yes, I guess I'll.
You got the bacterial stuff?
Yeah, I had water in my throat that I washed my hands there. Okay. And I told the guys they will see you for exposure because we touched her bare.
Okay.
So in this particular situation, you're not seeing that she's passed out because of heat exposure. You're seeing because there's blood force trauma. It is pretty clear. From the moment that I showed up,
blood force trauma, as well as what?
I mean, when there's blood everywhere, urine of blood, full of blood, usually that's a sign that.
I think that was a discussion that we had with you and with Lara and with Smith. It was like, hey, there's blood here, there's blood here, there's blood here. We're like, well, let's make the crime scene bigger.
Well, that was them. That was Lara, the one that was making those calls, because like I said, he's the one that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we agreed with him when we showed up. We were there 10 seconds when we said, wow, there's blood.
At the time when I was there, I didn't know it was blood force trauma. I didn't even know that shit,
Yeah, well, we don't know yet. We're just assuming because of the time.
You tell me my face, but at the time, man, I thought she got beat up, and I didn't. In my head, man, I wasn't thinking what happened. Did she got shot in the head? Did she got freaking? Because I said something about dogs, because there was a guy walking with dogs or some shit like that. Yeah. He mentioned the dog thing at that moment when that thing was going on. I wasn't thinking about that shit.
You're getting me wrong. I'm not saying that you're supposed to know what she had. The only thing we're saying is that just by looking at it, you know that it's a serious injury, whether it's a chingazo on the head or whether, she was assaulted with something else. That's all I'm saying.
And you should have known that she was there.
I would say you should have known she was there, yeah.
You made it sound like you're like, come on, man, you should have known better.
No, you should have known that it was pretty damn serious.
I mean, you was serious, right? I told her, you don't want to put in the radio that somebody dead, because like...
Okay, we got that. We clarified that.
All right.
Okay.
So Burgos, you guys moved her a couple of times, no? Yes. Did you get a good look at her? Did you say... Did you say at one point, who's this female?
No. Look, I'm trying to show you how far we move people like this. It was...
So that was a failed attempt. You said, okay, you're on, kind of messing with this situation.
At that time,
and then what happened next?
The more we moved, the more...
Between the three of you, what happened next?
We did a sweep.
What is it?
Like, we went into like the surrounding areas, like, just in case it was, I don't know, somebody... Yeah.
In your separate directions, or you went one direction, they went in another direction?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened with your sweep?
We found shoes, which I found a shoe. I didn't think anything of it. I found shoes all the time from the aliens. Didn't think anything, just grabbed it, looked at it to make sure I didn't look over it, put it down. Found a stroller. Same thing, I looked at it, I grabbed it, whatever. Didn't get anything of it. They continued to sweep. We went back. There was another shoe looking at the same one that I found. And that's when I'm like,
You found both shoes?
Yeah, that's when I was like, you know what? This shoe here looks like the other one. And it was like pretty cold, so I grabbed it and I put it down the dirt road, and that was that white one that was there.
You grabbed both shoes?
The first one I grabbed, and I didn't think anything because it was like far away. It was like maybe like 15, 20 miles away.
So the furthest shoe is you grabbed.
So that one I grabbed it, but it was like 20, 30 feet away. Don't fucking quote me on it like I'm freaking like I'm... So you can visualize it, right? Anything of it, I'll put it down, right?
Yeah.
Walk back, get one sweep area, all that stuff. Found stroller, anything of it again, because like I said, there's always trash all that place. Went back to Rada, and I told him what I saw.